Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. I very welcome my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Hello and welcome to Sunday's edition of the dceu Daily. And if you're feeling charitable, I know you're very compassionate, charitable people. Please smash the subscribe button. Please smash the like button and follow me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad. So what have we got here? Birds of Prey director Cathy has plans for a sequel exploring Harley Quinn's relationship with Poison Ivy, and I think we all know where this is heading, but let's give it a read. During a recent interview, Harley Quinn Birds of Prey director Cathy confirmed that she's already had ideas for a sequel and that Harley's relationship with Poison Ivy would be the focal point. Oh, I bet it is. Harley Quinn Birds of Prey didn't make the biggest of impacts at the box office, but as it now looks to find new life on video on demand platforms, director Cathy has told The Wrap that she already has an idea for a sequel should it happen. It's obviously very early days on that front, but this is something bound to get comic book fans excited. Right, before I start on this, I've already tried to record this video. I tried to go onto the Wrap's direct article. They wanted me to subscribe for $14.99. If I didn't do that, I couldn't read the article, so I had to find it on another kind of site. Very, very disappointing, the Wrap, and it just sums you up what you're all about. I would love to see Poison Ivy, and I would certainly love to see the relationship between Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. The filmmaker told the trade, explaining that their romance would be a big part of the follow-up. Told ya! We're not sure where that leads the Birds of Prey, of course, but those are characters who will presumably headline their own spin-off somewhere down the line. Not in that form, probably. Asked whether she thinks a sequel revolving around Harley Quinn will actually happen, Yan added, I don't know. I think people aren't ready to let go of Harley Quinn quite yet. And, you know, Margot, I don't think is ready to let go of Harley Quinn either. So, hopefully, Cathy before I continue reading, again, it's going to be a cold day in hell until you and your writers and Margot's production team will be independently allowed to touch that character again. No, we're not ready to let go of Harley Quinn. She's going to be in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. She's going to be written and produced and directed by people who can be trusted. So you may have this idea, and we know why you're going down the romantic relationship thing, more of what you were doing in Birds of Prey. Now, I've already stated I enjoyed the movie, but the toxic hate towards men in that film was disgusting. And it really did come across as someone just whining and moaning about not getting their own way. And that element was very disappointing. The character is, of course, set to appear in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, so we are going to see more of her before too long. Given the somewhat standalone nature of the DC Extended Universe these days, though, it's doubtful the return of Task Force X to the big screen will do much to set the stage for whatever Warner Bros. Has planned next for Harley Quinn. It would be no bad thing to see Yan get the chance to explore Harley's budding romance with Ivy, though, and we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed if that happens somewhere down the line. What do you guys think? Well, I've literally just told you what I think. This is not going to happen. This is never, ever, ever going to happen. Now, I've already stated that the box office for Birds of Prey isn't a disaster, but it wasn't great. And it's certainly, you would imagine, a film with Margot's Harley Quinn, one of the most popular DC characters in the comics, should have made more money. In fact, say what you want about David Ayer's Suicide Squad, but that film made just under $800 million globally, mainly because of the way he represented Harley Quinn, right? Whether you like that film or not, Harley Quinn's appearance in that film worked. Harley Quinn's appearance in this film didn't work because Margot Robbie, love her as much as I do, and I do love her. I think she's a very talented woman, and she's also a very loving, compassionate woman. I like her. I like her a lot. But she formed her own production company, predominantly employed women, right? So there's a statement already there. And the idea of this film was to make commentary against toxic masculinity, right? It didn't go down well, not just with the female audience, because predominantly the people going to see Birds of Prey were men. Yes, just like with Captain Marvel, they spent all that time talking about toxic men and toxic masculinity, and it was the men who supported the film. Irony is my favourite word, and these people keep on exposing themselves. This film was okay. It was entertaining. Definitely, Ewan McGregor's performance was, just like Margot's performance as Harley in Suicide Squad, was the standout thing alongside Will Smith and other performances. It was Ewan McGregor's performance as this so-called toxic male that won the day. That's the memorable thing people are taking away from that film. Cathy Yan is not going to get a sequel. You know, she's going around talking about it, hoping that Warner Brothers are listening. It's not going to happen, Cathy. You know, you tried and you failed. Now, as I say, it made a profit. Warner Brothers are not hurting from this film. They knew this film was a risk the way Margot wanted to do it. They made sure the investment was minimal and the risk was minimal. We move along, we put it in our dceu collection, and we forget about it. And she was doing a commentary, she was doing a tweet along for this very film, Cathy Yan. And again, she was doubling down on toxic masculinity and girls this and girls that. You know, and it's not just men that you've triggered, Cathy. You've triggered a lot of women. This is not how you do it. This was so disloyal to the comic book adaptation as well, right? Now, of course, we know the critics loved it and the sites loved it. Of course, they know what they're talking. It's all political to these people. But we must remove politics from movies. This is the problem. And the cool kids must be exposed to female, to toxic femininity. Let me say that word again. Toxic femininity and toxic masculinity. We are people. Yeah, we get all the virtue signaling on Twitter. I do it as well sometimes. Yes, I'm guilty if you follow me. But the truth is, we are not virtue signalers. Virtually good. That is BS. We are complex individuals with both toxicity and love. I am now working on 3 different scripts for a Dallas revival. 2 reboots and 1 continuation of the revival. Now, I know what people say about the character of JR and that show. It was a male predominant show, and JR could be labelled as a toxic male. You could even, if you're crazy enough, kind of link him to Donald Trump. But the point is, people should be able to be exposed to these people, because these people are all around us. And you know what? As human beings and complex human beings, we both have toxicity and love spraying out at the same time. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. Not you and not me and not Cathy Yan. Now, I don't think this film should have been allowed to be made. This could have been an awesome Birds of Prey setup, and it failed. So they've got to put it to bed and forget about it. Maybe they'll bring those characters back, because nothing says you can't bring those characters back in their iconic comic book uniforms, right? In their costumes, right? You can still do it. The performers did a great job, right? I liked it. I love the actors. I think they all did great. And Margot can retain with them. But there needs to be some restructuring of those characters. And I'll reiterate what I've already said. There is no way in hell Cathy Yan is going to get another swipe at this. And it's very arrogant of her to kind of say, well, I think the audience are not ready to let go of Harley quite yet. We're never going to be ready to let go of Margot's Harley. But we are ready to let go of you and your toxic idea of men. You've decided you've got us pitched, that you know us all, that you know we're all about. Yes, straight men love women. Straight men want to make love to women. Straight men sometimes see women as sexual objects. But sometimes, just the same, women see men as sexual objects. Gay women see women as sexual objects sometimes. Gay men see other men as sexual objects sometimes. But there's more to life than that. There's the other percentages where we see people as people. It's a balance. It's a mixture. And it's a combination. And people like Cathy Yan and the extreme left will never be able to disprove that we are all flawed and loving at the same time. And this mentality and this idea needs to be taken away from the industry, and we need to get back to being loyal to the comic books, to the authors, to the original ideas, and pleasing the most important person, the consumer, who's going to pay for popcorn and the cinema ticket. I'm really on one today, boys and girls. It's over to Ray Fisher. Oh, you're going to love this one. Well, not all of you.
A book is being written about the Snyder Cut movement. Wow. That's great. That's great. Would I consider being interviewed by Sean O'Connell and having my words in the book? I would consider it. I'd have to think about it for a bit and do my research, and just come to understand exactly what that would be like, the auspices of that, because everything that you kind of say and do, you do have to be a little cautious, because you don't really know how things are going to actually be used. So I do tread a little more carefully when it comes to that stuff. I feel the same way about putting myself out there on record, in the same way that I do about how it is that I choose projects. You got to choose your words specifically when you can.
Right, that's from Ray Fisher. He did a Twitch talking to fans. Right, Ray Fisher was a great guy before I heard this. Now it proves to me what an intelligent, talented guy he is. He doesn't know who Sean O'Connell is. He didn't even know he was doing a book about the Release the Snyder Cut movement, right? But Ray Fisher poses some questions here. Yes, I'm happy to talk to him. But first I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to look into this guy. I'm going to see if I can trust this guy. Are the motives right here? So Sean O'Connell. Now I'm going to talk here freely because it's my channel and it's my video. Only a few people are going to be watching it, but it doesn't matter, right? I have to say how I feel here. I think it's a very exciting thing for someone to be writing about the Release the Snyder Cut of Justice League movement. Sean O'Connell really came out from nowhere, really, as a blogger for Cinema Blend. Cinema Blend's always been a poor relation of the other sites, a struggling site. All of a sudden, about a year ago, 8 or 9 months ago, he came out professing his support for Zack Snyder, the dceu, the release of Zack's version of the Justice League movie. I always found this bit odd at the time. But then, because I'm a very suspicious bloke, and I thought, what is this guy's angle? He's never really shown support. And all of a sudden, he's everywhere talking about Release the Snyder Cut. So I'm always a very patient guy to see what people's end game is. Then all of a sudden, when I heard he was writing a book, I thought, gotcha. This is what your angle was all the time. Right, the question I would ask Sean O'Connell, Sean, I'm very eager to read your book, but where are the proceeds going? Are they going to you? Are you going to be giving all proceeds to suicide prevention charities? I don't know. I haven't heard you say anything. And if you have said you're donating all that money, I apologise, my friend. It's a great thing that you're doing. But if you're keeping the money for yourself, then we have to ask the question. Because here's the thing, I'm very protective of all fans and consumers around the world. There's all these attacks on fans and fan entitlement and fan culture and fan toxic fandom, right? But there's never a question being asked of bloggers and people of the industry. And people like me who have the privilege to be able to talk to a few people about these things, about the industry, about entertainment, right, need to speak up here. Because on the one hand, it's a great thing. On the other hand, can we trust Sean? And as I say, where are the proceeds going? If the proceeds are going to suicide prevention charities, whatever the charities are, I don't care. As long as they're genuine charities, that's a good thing. We get to buy something that we're going to read. It's about us. It's about the movement. It's about the fight, the real fight to create justice for the Justice League and for Zack Snyder. That's a great thing. And the book could put pressure, even more pressure on Warner Brothers to make this damn thing happen. So it's a good thing, right? So you're saying to me, Mick, does it matter if the end justifies the means? It does and it doesn't. Ray Fisher hasn't said what I'm saying. I'm not putting words in Ray's mouth, but he even said, I'm always worried about going on the record. I'm always worried about talking to people. This is why he's pretty much saying, not in so many words, I'm going to research this. I'm going to research this guy. If he asks to talk to me, I'm only going to talk to him if I can be trusted. Can I trust this guy from Cinema Blend? You know, why is he doing this? And is he going to twist my words? We remember what happened with Ben Fritz in the Wall Street Journal article. He made people, prominent people from the Snyder Cut community, the dceu community, like Chris Wong Svensson, a super stand-up guy, and he twisted his words, right? He interviewed Sean, right? Sorry, getting my words mixed up. He interviewed Chris, and Chris was really excited about it. I remember him talking about it on the Ping Pong Flicks. He twisted his words. He twisted the words of all the fans to make everyone look like a bunch of religious nutters who didn't know what they were doing. Now, there was suspicions back then that Kevin Sujihara was behind this, but we can never prove that. So I'll say alleged accusations, right? So is Sean O'Connell another Ben Fritz? I don't think he is, but I do think he's trying to profit from this. And as I say, if I'm mistaken, and if 100% of the proceeds are going to suicide prevention, I apologise, Sean O'Connell. But at the end of the day, you did come out of nowhere about a year ago, you know, pronouncing your support for the fandom, the movement, Zack Snyder, and you did come from nowhere. You were very, very quiet before. And then all of a sudden, you're writing a book, right? You've already gained 1,000 followers on Twitter. You've changed your Twitter bio. You've changed your Twitter name to release the Snyder Cut. It's all very clever, Sean, but at the end of the day, it does show that maybe your motives are not exactly pure. As I say, donate everything to suicide prevention. I'll buy your book. That's great. But if this is just a plan, a manipulation to profit yourself and nothing else, and it's not about the love of Zack Snyder or this film that has every right to be released, then I would say you're someone I don't want to hype up, someone I don't want to support, and I certainly don't want to make you more financially wealthier. Cinema Blend is surely got sponsors. They're doing very well. I'm sure you're doing very well financially as well. There's no need for you to take a cent of this money. But I want to know what you think, everyone. What do you think about Cathy Yan wanting to do a sequel of Birds of Prey with a Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn romance? Are you happy about that? I ain't got a problem with a Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy romantic relationship, but we know why Cathy's doing it, right? And we know what she's going to try and do. It's just going to be another film where a couple of female characters kick a bunch of blokes so they can be kicking up, you know, the toxic men, right? So we know that. But I want to know what you think about that. And what about Sean O'Connell? Is he a friend? Is he an enemy? Can we trust him? Or has he been manipulating us all along for personal gain? Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.